Good morning. Yeah. So very generously, folks agreed to kind of open the space up a little bit today so that we could carve out a space to send some love to the people in the Koreas who are now experiencing this very monumental moment of coming together. And so after a story that's toward the end, a little story about the Koreas, I'm going to have us just pause and have a moment of silence and just send some love, right? Like the mini peace generator. It matters what's in our hearts. Yeah, and may we all end the wars that have been going on in our personal lives, in the world, inside of ourselves. Yeah, okay. So this set is called Around the World in Under 10 Minutes. So I'm at the bus depot, daydreaming as I wait to catch the number 5 home, when the woman beside me startles me awake with a good strong ka-choo. Bless you, I say, without a thought. And she turns toward me, takes both my hands in hers, looks into my eyes and says, bless you too, bless you too. First I think she's new to the language and hasn't quite mastered our idiom. But then I realize it's we, as in all Anglo mother tongue society, who have forgotten what our words truly mean, and how moving and sweet a thing it must have been the first time one spirit leaned into another and said, bless you, wishing her well, wishing him well, all in response to a simple sneeze. Imagine how different our world would be if each time we said, bless you, we conjured up that original heart, wishing all good things to a stranger who graces our path ever so briefly, as if the wall between us were made of dust, and one fleeting ka-choo were enough to blow it clear away. So, a handful of mothers gather around my favorite tree at Gallup Park, waving hands, waving hats at their children or children's children, climbing nimbly in the branches. They smile and holler, each in a different tongue. And for a moment, I wonder where we are and whether our native lands are at peace or at war. But these mothers of nations stand firm beneath our tree, waving colorful knit caps like the flags of a country where nothing matters more than a child's warm ears. A small boy kneels. Quietly, he watches a millipede crawl along the windowsill. Tenderly, he floats a leaf beside, not knowing if what he offers is food or maybe a magic carpet ride. This millipede is my friend. I think I'll give him a name. Herman, he exclaims, and then scoots off to tell his mama. As mama turns to go, she hears a great stomp beneath his small red boot. Her boy has crushed one of the ladybugs once he's everywhere this time of year. What was his name, she asks. I don't know, he shrugs. It wasn't my friend. Later that evening, Papa's relaxing on the porch reading a paper when his boy bounds toward him and pounces onto his lap. What's his name, he asks, pointing to a picture of an American soldier. Papa shares the soldier's name, rank, faith, and a little bit of his story. Oh, and well, what's her name, he asks, now pointing to a picture of an Iraqi girl. I don't know, whispers Papa. It doesn't say. Oh, and did she narrowly escape death too? No, whispers Papa. Just then a firefly alights on Papa's head. As he's poised to swat, his boy grabs his wrist and says, not so fast, Papa. This firefly is my friend. Her name is Lantern, just like the girl. This is her favorite place in the world, this small stretch of great lake where dune and forest meet, where humans have built small footbridges across the delicate landscape, not to conquer nature, but to be one with it. And so she came, not to conquer her sorrow, but simply to be one with it. She walked slowly and heavily along the coastline, creating a slow, dense poem of footfalls, breath, and wake. A verse without words, but not without meaning. And then suddenly she burst forth into the lake, disappearing up to her waist, rushing to rescue a butterfly caught in a strong fall wake. She cups her hands and lets the butterfly drift into them. And then, back to the wind, she wades ashore, or at least she carries the butterfly to shore, though in a sense, she herself is no more. For miles, she walks backwards to protect the delicate butterfly from the great wind, and perhaps her own delicate spirit, too. They trek up and up and up, suspended high above this old-growth landscape of forest rising from sand, roots drinking from the earth and holding it together, too, in an act of perfect give and take. And the butterfly stays with her all this time, and she with it, and each with each other. And in time, as measured not by the ticks of clocks, but by love or faith, the butterfly drifts from her finger onto a railing. And in time, as measured not by the ticks of clocks, but by love and by faith, the butterfly flaps its wings and flies quietly away. And when the woman returns to the great lake in search of her sorrow, she discovers that it too has found its wings and flown quietly away. That's a loud butterfly. And here's Korea. At the South's northern border, just a stone's throw from the demilitarized zone, the most heavily fortified tract of land in the world. There's a little boy sitting at a lookout post, old southern lookout post, where for a couple of coins you can peer through a set of binoculars and see clear to the other side. This boy, separated from his brother in the north at birth, peers through the unusual lenses, expecting to see all manner of strange and forbidden things. But all he sees is a lone structure and a little boy about his own age. He wonders aloud if the structure is a sharpshooter's post or maybe a propaganda broadcast tower. But he doesn't ask about the little boy, not even to himself. The guide says, oh, that building, that's just an old northern lookout post, where for a couple of coins, you can peer through a set of binoculars and see clear to the other side. And now we'll just take a moment, let the Koreas face each other. He visited every country on the globe, both real and imagined, and collected a pebble, a shell, or a grain of sand from every mountain, desert, and sea. When he came home to her, he spilled his bounty from an old potato sack into what little space lay between them. She kneels and picks up a single grain of sand, and in it she sees the bank of a river that feeds an ocean, that drinks from a cloud moving slowly across some great sky. And in the sky, she sees many birds, stars, and moons, and a plume of smoke rising from a chimney in the village of a distant land. And in the smoke she smells a fragrant stew. and hears the laughter of children and the sound of music played on instruments she never even imagined. And in this music, she feels the joy of every creature on earth. And in this joy, she feels love. And in this love, she finds peace. I too have seen the world, she says, as she presses the grain of sand into the palm of her beloved's, awaiting.